This is your boy Vladistan Empire back to you with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about something called the multiverse. Now, what is the multiverse? The multiverse is a complex of reality of timelines and alternate versions of what happens in our own timeline. Now, why am I bringing up this topic? Because I thought that, well, I was thinking that why do we have this timeline and what could actually happen if one event were to change another? Well, let's look at our own timeline for example. Our own timeline has known to be complex already because you got yourself, you got family, you got the possibility of your actions of what could happen possibly. Like you gotta think of like all these accounts of like just you. You gotta think about yourself and how you could change the your actions could change in other timelines. Now why is that so important you say? Because the reality doesn't isn't always the same and maybe another timeline. So let's say we are on Earth 1, right? And our timeline is made of what's the term? Complex structure, right? But the thing is about that, the thing is about it, you know, is that it's so complex that sometimes not even scientists know about all this stuff. And you gotta think about like what role you play in that timeline and all. Like let's assume that you were a guy in this universe and you make an action that in another universe and you discover the way to travel through alternate timelines. But the thing is, we're so far behind in like technology, I'd say, that it doesn't really matter how well you figure it out, but there's always going to be it always varies depending on the alternate timeline and how that timeline affects the others. And like there is no key answer to like what the multiverse is because it varies from person to person depending on all the research and all the statistics that people come out with now these days. And so, why do I think the multiverses could exist? Well, the multiverse could exist in a way that it's beyond our own knowledge and all, but only few people could figure out how to jump timelines throughout history. But you gotta figure out what the way to do it correctly without causing a disturbance within timelines. And then there could also be different ways that of ourselves as well on different timelines. Like let's say we were the on another universe. I could be a powerhouse and then you could be a girl, who knows? But it all varies depending on the uh, kind of like the key components of like what time, what placement the everything is in like the vibrations of the timeline and all, and like how it could affect our bodies on and like how we can react to that specific uh, universe. So our universe is like we don't know exactly how big uh, all these guys, like all these different like multiverses are, because we've never really seen the multiverse. The DC comics and Marvel comics and like other movies, like big companies like those, kind of like have like diagrams and examples of like what their version of the multiverse is like. But you gotta keep in mind that it's complex. There's no real answer to how big the multiverse is, but there is a way to kind of like figure out like how we could probably do experiments, no, but that take time to figure out how to jump timelines, and we also need to study the our own universe first, for finish what uh, unexplored stuff we haven't looked at yet. But then again, we don't know all the answers to why our universe is so unexplored, and like how our universe came to be. And then like the multiverse, that's on a whole nother level. Like we could be talking about like gods or just like different versions of our timeline that our actions could have been affected differently, and like how we could see things and other people. Like it all depends on like what actions we take on this timeline compared to another timeline. Because there's no actual answer to why we do certain things come out that way. Not until we've already did that way of like stuff, like such as like the no tolerance act. Maybe there could be a world where there's no bullying or no crime or anything. It just all kind of depends on like how our timeline could be affected in other timelines that we might not be able to know about, because we could be talking about hundreds of billions of universes, and we might not know like all the outcomes of like how that universe came to be. But each universe has a story of its own of how it came to be, but we haven't figured out how these uh, universes are kind of like how each universe was kind of like got its way, because we could be looking at like infinite answers to like one universe. Like, there is no exact answer to what the multiverse is, or there is no exact answer to how our actions could play out, because there's just so many, because there's multiple actions that we could be doing right now that could affect like maybe another timeline that we don't even know about fully, because we haven't even figured out. I don't want to say figured out, but I probably say we haven't fully understood like the concept of the timeline. I probably say, because the timeline is just so unique, because our actions in this timeline varies from timeline to timeline, but they could also be the exact same. But it's just the way how people view the timeline. There is no direct answer, because there's so many videos and so many theories that the multiverse could be a much bigger level than we actually see it on now these days. Because before, everyone thought that it was just our own universe. Like, everyone cared about ourselves and nothing else. But the thing is, there's more to this than there is to like reality, pretty much. Because the multiverse is like how everything starts. Like the Big Bang Theory could have played out differently in another universe, or there could be a universe where the dinosaurs never went extinct, or there could be a universe where just dinosaurs never existed and just humans existed for the most part. Like you gotta take into consideration that it's complex. Like you don't have an exact answer of like what everything is made up of. Like we could be looking at this like all wrong. Like our own selves, we could be looking at this all wrong, along for the longest time. Everything is always complex. No matter how hard you look at it, you don't have the exact answers that you're looking for, because there's so many more alterations of that exact moment. You get it? So, so you gotta take into consideration that there are more alternate ways we could look at this. There are more answers out there, but we could be looking at this all wrong, and we just might not know it until it's kind of like we've gotten like too much gotten like information, and we just could be looking at it all wrong. Or we could be looking at it correct, but we just don't know how to put it all together, which is the only problem. Just figuring out how we could change it to make sure that it fits in with everything else. Right? So if you're new to this channel, please subscribe down below. Also like this video and comment down on what you want me to post next, because I will get back to you as soon as I get done, and maybe the next day or two as soon as I get done with the concert tonight. Yeah. See you. Bye.